Hey folks, it's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. Today is Saturday, October 14th. Hope you're well and hope you have a great weekend so far. In this video, we're going to be doing another edition of rapid fire news updates for the period October 7th to October 13th. If you're not familiar with this new format, essentially we go over a high-level overview of all the important updates that transpired over the last week. And again, it's not to go into deep dive details. It's just to kind of give a high-level overview of something people may have missed. And if you want to learn more and read more about it, you can go do so on your own time. But before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. I would appreciate it very much. You can take the bell and subscribe. You'll be notified on any future videos when I post these rapid-fire news updates, usually once a week, and then on any future live streams as well. And I really do appreciate all of the support along this journey. I love each and every one of you. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, been getting tons of views and tons of support on the channel recently, and I really do appreciate it. I'll try to keep this video around 10 to 15 minutes. That's sort of the sweet spot for these videos. Also, make sure to give Pow Group a follow on X, which is previously Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. I'm going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. Again, the handle for that is @GroupPow. New MJ Ventures reports that the Cannabis Co. pays down $25 million worth of debt, and we know that they just went through a name change as well. Also, MJ Moment reports that California governor signs bill blocking most employers from asking about past MJ use during interview process. And this is something that has been taking the media by storm lately, and a topic that has been really surfacing a lot lately. And in my opinion, nobody should be blocked from getting any kind of employment due to this medicine of the future. Also, states made more than $5.7 billion with a B in MJ tax revenue over 18-month period. New Federal Census Bureau report shows. So again, we're starting to see what this medicine in the future and what this amazing industry can do. Not only will it create tons of tax revenue, it's going to create tons of jobs, and it's going to help tons of people along the way, right? From a health benefit perspective, with all the medicinal properties and benefits that come with this medicine of the future. Also, Canopy Growth announces EU GMP certification for Kincardine cultivation facility, and this is going to be great timing. I did a video on this. It's going to be right ahead of German legalization, and then the rest of the EU likely to follow suit. But in my opinion, I think Canopy Growth is going to swim long term. I don't think they're going to be, going the way of the dodo, so to speak. I think they're going to, get out of this bear market, and they're going to see light at the end of the tunnel, right? It's a company that I own, full disclosure, and none of this information is to be taken as financial advice. It's for entertainment and informational purposes only. You should never buy or sell anything based on anything I write or anything that I say. But very bullish on Canopy. I think it's going to turn the ship around massively with the asset light approach and cost savings and just cost cutting, trying to get toward profitability, right? That's pretty much the story among all these LPs right now. And a lot of the US names are going to be extremely profitable once we see potential rescheduling, the Schedule 3, and the removal of the punitive tax code 280E, right? Some companies, like Curaleaf, for example, has paid over $340 million to the US government just under that tax code alone. Also, US MJ company Curaleaf, speaking of which, moves to list shares on the Canadian TSX, so the Toronto Stock Exchange. We know that TerrAscend was the first to kind of lead that way, and then I said that we're more than likely going to see more and more MSOs, multi-state operators, follow suit, and then there's going to be an uplisting mania, in my opinion, over the next 6 to 12 months, where we're going to see uplisting to U.S. major exchanges like the NYSE and the NASDAQ, and then individuals in the U.S., retail investors in the U.S. will be able to buy these names, right? Because right now a lot of brokers don't allow OTC and then over the counter, and then if you're in the US, you can't buy on Canadian exchanges like the CSE or the TSX, right? So that is coming, and it's going to happen in droves. In my opinion, we're going to see massive mania regarding that, right? And that's going to be whenever the floodgates open up and we see massive institutional capital start to roll into this amazing industry. Also, mold and labeling issues prompt MJ recalls in Canada. So thousands of MJ products have been recalled in Canada since the beginning of September by a number of licensed producers over issues ranging from potentially harmful mold to mislabeled packages. And this has happened quite a few times. And I think a lot of it has to do with the oversupply and, just overcapacity, oversupply. They're not moving product quick enough, and just, kind of growing pains, right? So it's something that, it's going to be continuing to pressure the industry, right, as we continue to iron out the kinks. And in my opinion, it's just growing pains, nothing to be too concerned about long term. Also, Michigan MJ sales stall again. So in September, they were down for the second consecutive month, stalling near their all-time high set in July at 276.7 million. at 274.7 million. Sales fell 0.6% sequentially, but were up 29.6% from a year earlier. Also, the MJ Act review finds companies struggling to profit, health experts supportive. So this is, again, we know that the MJ Act is up for review here in Canada. There's a ton of issues right now in Canada, right? Growing pains. We're still ironing out the kinks. And a lot of the issues have to do with regards to labeling and packaging, right? Everything just looks so boring and bleak. And, you walk into an MJ store and you feel like you're going to die because of all these label warnings and things like that. And, you look at the cans and things like that in beverages. And, if you take a look at, like, say, an energy drink where they look amazing, right? And very enticing, I think that we're going to get there eventually, but it's probably going to be a few years out. And then, packaging, labeling, advertising, marketing, and then taxation are big key components to that. But, companies that are going bankrupt, look at, Fire and Flower. This is going to, in my opinion, push the federal government. And we know that the federal government here in Canada has expressed its sympathies and basically saying that, it needs to catch up to this industry, and it doesn't want to squash the industry, right? It wants these companies, it wants the industry to flourish, and it's time for the federal government to get caught up and start to support this amazing industry of medicine in the future. Also, Connecticut set another MJ sales record in September, with monthly purchases exceeding 25 million for the first time. Also, Curaleaf to report third quarter 2023 financial and operational results. I just did a video on this. It was an earnings preview. I go over the estimates, and then I did some technical analysis on it as well. So if you want to jump into that, you can check out that video, but it's going to be on November 9th after market close. Again, check out that video for more details. Also, Mary Jones announces Stoner October California tour dates. So I haven't tried these new drinks yet from Jones Soda, Mary Jones. If anybody's tried them, let me know in the comments below if you have tried them, what you think of them, what you'd rate them out of 1 to 10. I think they're going to be probably pretty good. Trust's Beverage Co., which is owned by Tilray. I just did a couple of product reviews on those. Trust has some of the best drinks in the world, right? I think they, hands down, bar none, not even a close second, coming close to the beverages that come out of Truss. And that was a joint venture between Hexo and Molson Coors, and then Tilray acquired Hexo, got 42.5% of that joint venture, and then they bought the remaining 47.5% from Molson Coors. So now that's 100% owned by Tilray, and in my opinion, it's just going to be a global powerhouse in the making. Also, Canadian MJ Farms eligible for federal funding via $3.5 billion program. And again, we're starting to see more and more signs to the federal government starting to support this industry. Also, Connecticut MJ sales set another monthly record as adult use prices decline. So I kind of already touched on that a little bit. Kentucky medical MJ law will take effect in 2025 as well. So again, game theory playing out. We're starting to see more and more individual states kind of, capitulate and start to get on board with this, right? As more and more states, the more and more countries, the more and more companies that start to adopt this medicine of the future. Like I said, it's going to be a snowball effect, right? We're going to see more and more countries, companies, and states start to embrace it. Ukrainian lawmakers approve medical MJ legalization bill in committee, putting it one more vote from Zelensky's desk. So again, game theory playing out in full force. MJ consumers who caught COVID had better outcomes and mortality than non-users, study finds. And I still get the odd comment on my videos like, oh, you're a pothead. It's like, I'd rather be a pothead than a poison head and consume alcohol. And this is medicine, right? Alcohol, poison, MJ, medicine. And as you can see, the research and studies are starting to point that, this is really medicine. This has tons of medical properties. And, it's not just a recreational aspect, right, which it can have that as well. And it's a healthier alternative to alcohol and tobacco. But as we know, there's a lot more health benefits and benefits in general to it, right? Texas activist says they have enough signatures to put MJ decriminalization on Lubbock ballot, but plan to collect more in final push. So again, it just seems like every time you turn around now, we're seeing more, decriminalization, legalization, whether it be medical or full-blown adult use sales. And this is just going to continue to be a trend to the point where, eventually the federal government is just going to have to catch up. Also, Montauk, which is a subsidiary of Tilray Brands, releases Major Wave Chaser Double India Pale Ale. So they have the original Wave Chaser IPA at 6.4%. If that wasn't high enough alcohol content, they just came out with a 9.2%. I can't imagine it being very good, though. If anybody tries that, let me know in the comments. I don't know. I'm usually around like 6-7% is kind of where I top out. terms of strong beer, but I haven't consumed alcohol in almost a month now. And like I said, I was basically a week too where I didn't even consume any MJ because I was just so busy buying a couple new condos and moving as well. And yeah, it's just nice to take a break every once in a while, right? Colorado MJ sales surpassed 15 billion with a B since adult use legalization. And I actually went to Colorado. You still can't buy the credit card, obviously, right? With safer banking potentially coming up, that could resolve that. Rescheduling to Schedule 3 as well. We should start to see, these companies be able to join the 21st century and be able to use credit cards and not be treated like a cash business, right? But yeah, Colorado definitely seeing definitely seeing some major benefits here. 15 billion. That's no number to ignore, right? Also, Trulieve donates another $500,000 to Florida adult use MJ legalization. We know that there's a vote coming up on November 8th, and this is, in my opinion, has a very, very chance of making the ballot for 2024, and we could very well see Florida commence adult use sales at some point over the next 1 to 2 years. And this is going to be a massive market, I would argue, probably the most important and the most significant state in the U.S. Also, Red, White, and Bloom bid for insolvent MJ operator Alifia succeeds. So that's just an update with regards to that. We know Alifia, they were going to, I think they were going to merge the two companies. Maybe I'm conflating it with another company, but I'm pretty sure they were going to merge, and then they decided not to, but bid for the insolvent assets regardless. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Don't quote me on that though. Also, Charlotte's Web appoints Angela McKelwey, former CEO of Gaia Herbs, to board of directors. House Speaker chaos. So other priorities complicate MJ banking bill. So there's been some FUD, some fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and some rumors about who's going to take over as the House Speaker, whether or not it could complicate the safer banking bill getting passed. I don't think it's going to really matter, and I've got some more information with regard to that here in a moment. But we know that this is the first time the safe banking has passed any kind of Republican-led chamber. It's passed the House seven times, but this is the first time in the Senate that it has passed, and now the House is Republican-led as well. So I might have mixed that up, but I meant to say that this is the first time any kind of banking bill has passed the Senate, a Senate chamber, and now the Republicans control the majority in the House. So I don't think that's going to be an issue because it's already passed the House 7 times, and then I got some more information on that after to kind of add to that point. But MJ MSO Trulieve also seeks $143 million federal refund for 280E taxes, which it claims it does not owe these taxes that it paid over the past 3 years. So I did a dedicated video on that. You can check that out. I did some analysis on that stock as well. So you can check out that video for more information and more details. Alabama pledges to issue medical MJ license by the end of the year. So again, more and more states starting to embrace it and starting to fall in line. GOP MJ banking bill sponsor says Senate floor vote. So this is what I was talking about. Senate floor vote on hold until House passage assured, MJ financing exec who spoke to him says. So this is good. You don't want to rush anything across the finish line. You want to kind of take a crawl, walk approach, crawl, walk, run approach, and then make sure that we take our time and do what we need to do to get enough support for this, right? Because in the past, we've just been let down. So especially with all this, the House Speaker up in arms right now, we're not really too sure what's going to happen with that. I don't really care in either side of the aisle. I don't really care who comes in as long as they're good for the MJ industry. And I'm in Canada, so realistically, it doesn't really affect me. There's nothing really I can do. I kind of just got to sit back and watch. But ultimately, just praying that we get somebody in there that supports this amazing industry and medicine of the future. And we just, I don't care if what side of the aisle they're on, as long as they're pro MJ. That's all we're after. Rhode Island sees record adult use MJ sales as medical purchases fall to lowest since recreational market launched. MJ rescheduling would supersize the industry, former DEA head and White House drug czar warns Biden administration. Okay, well, it's also going to create tons of tax revenue, as we talked about. It's also going to create tons of jobs. It's also going to help tons of people with health issues, right? And epilepsy and all this stuff, right? So it's going to do a lot more good than bad, in my opinion. Also, Trulieve opening relocated MJ medical dispensary in Melbourne, Florida. Also, BZAM announces change of auditor. And just a couple left. Neptune Wellness announces repayment of senior secured notes. And finally, last but not least, if Ohio voters pass MJ legalization measure, Senate president says he'll push for reviewing it and repealing things. So that Ohio, don't sleep on Ohio either. I think Florida and Ohio are the next potentially to come online, and they're going to be two massively important markets. But again, I think Florida is going to be the most important. But pretty much right around that 15-minute mark. So going in it there's definitely a lot of news. Again, when you do these videos, you really start to see how much news, and sometimes you kind of mix some things together. But yeah, it's crazy how much actually happens in the run of a week. And again, I usually just cover the most important, what I think is most important. I wish I could cover everything. I just wouldn't have the time, and I try to keep these around 10-15 minutes, sort of the sweet spot that everybody seems to like. And yeah, like I said, we cover this in the Power Grid private community. Pretty much all of this I do in the Power Grid private community, report on it. It's automatic news fetching and things like that. So it just automatically pulls the news from like 50 different publishers. And MJ gets filtered into the MJ channel, so into that news channel. So it's quite useful. And like I said, you don't really have to go searching for other news channels because it's all within that one private community, which is pretty awesome. But going in it there, it's Rod with Power Grid. Let me know what you think on this news. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and we'll see you again on the next video.